Jake Weeks, who I just want to call Jason. I don't know what the heck is up with that, but Jake Weeks from Quantum Red. So, Jake, tell everybody who you are and what you do.
Hey guys, thank you for having me. My name's Jake, like she said. I live in Scottsdale and I own Quantum Red. We specialize in red and near infrared light therapy.
And you have a
So,
red light on you right now, as a matter of fact, don't you?
and yes, I do. I have my little personal unit on me. Red light is something that's always good to have in your environment, especially because we live in so much blue light. We'll get into more of that later, I hope, a little bit. Uh,
Absolutely.
can I talk a little bit about how red light works?
Yeah, because I want to say, like, what, not who you are, just, but what you do. So, what you do is kind of, the red light's something different for people. So, tell us about what red light actually is. There's different types of red light, right?
Yeah, so the red light that most people are probably familiar with is a red light sauna, which is tends to be far infrared. Infrared is such a big range of light that is natural from the sun that it's split up into three categories. It's called near infrared, mid infrared, and far. So far infrared is the saunas that most people are familiar with, which produces a lot of heat, which um, is what heats up the body, allowing us to sweat and to detox and improve circulation. What I work with is visible red and near infrared light, which is just beyond that visible spectrum. And specifically, what these wavelengths of light do is they increase the rate at which our mitochondria, the energy part of our cell, creates energy. Just like a plant has a bacteria called a chloroplast that uses sunlight to create energy through a process called photosynthesis. Humans have bacteria called mitochondria. Those are our power plants of our cells. And just as a plant chloroplast needs light, so do our mitochondria. Yet the average American today spends about 93% of their day indoors under artificial light that doesn't have these beneficial wavelengths.
Which, and especially in Arizona, you'd think because there's so much light out here and it's so warm that we would be
Right.
getting more of that, but we're actually getting less of it because we spend so much time in the AC, right?
Especially in the summer, yeah. The infrared and the red light, the sun is just the strongest in the summer where we actually get the most benefit from it. But yeah, we tend to stay indoors. Now, I'd like to touch on real quick just the blue light thing I was talking about earlier. So because we spend most of our time indoors, most of our modern lighting between fluorescent and LED lighting, all of our LED screens, our TVs, our phones, computers, they are predominantly blue light. Now, all spectrums of light help our cells create energy, and the two main colors are blue and red. So,
Hmm.
blue light helps our cell create energy by oxidizing food. So, what that means is that blue light works on a protein that strips electrons off of protons, making these unstable molecules. This is, these unstable molecules are called free radicals. They're
Right.
inflammatory because if we don't do anything with them, if we don't stabilize them, they'll eventually start damaging the cell. So blue light helps us create energy by stripping electrons off food. Red light comes in at the end of this process, and red light is the antioxidant. It's what rebinds those electrons to hydrogen and to oxygen to make water and to make ATP. So here's the dilemma is we spend most of our time indoors in predominantly blue light. So this blue light helps our cells oxidize food, creating these free radicals. The light that we live under is missing this red and this near infrared light, which is the second half of the equation to not only increase energy production, but to reverse the inflammation caused by blue light. So, anybody that's looked up red light therapy or talked to somebody that's been using it, it usually sounds like something that's too good to be true. They talk about, oh wow, your hair grows faster and thicker, your skin starts to glow, and scars start to reverse, and wrinkles and all that good stuff. Um, your sleep improves, your recovery from workouts, recovery from injuries and surgeries and wounds. Everything starts to work better. It sounds too good to be true. But as humans, we've taken away one of the most fundamental things that our biology requires, and that's sunlight. And sunlight drives the energy within us, so our bodies have the energy to heal themselves and to perform optimally.
So I'm fascinated by this because the reason why you and I met is because I have a hamstring injury.
Yes, exactly.
And our mutual friend Daphne recommended that I come see you. So I've come and done several treatments, and I can tell you, like after the first treatment, I had some relief in my hamstring, which is really like, okay, come on, right? I'm just standing, you're standing in a room with a red light in front of you and behind you, very similar to what we're seeing here. You're red, right? And I'm
Yeah.
thinking, wow, how could that be, right? So I've had 3 treatments so far, and so we're going to be documenting. I need my hamstring to heal, dang it. So we're going to be documenting me coming over to do some red light therapy with you.
Yes.
And we're gonna document my hamstring healing. That's my story, and I'm sticking to it because it makes sense, right? I mean, we work just like plants, right? I mean, it's kind of what you're basically saying is the same thing as a plant needs sunlight in order to grow. So do we.
Yes. And, the root
It's
cause,
fascinating. We're just like flowers.
yes. And whether we have pain from like a muscular injury or cancer or obesity or autoimmune disease, the big word in the scientific community and medical community right now is inflammation, because inflammation is the root cause behind all of these issues from pain to cancer.
Right.
Now, inflammation is such a broad thing because we have so many different avenues that we take on inflammation. And when we talk about environmental stressors, environmental inflammation, we tend to think about things like air, the air that we're breathing in, or the food, inflammatory foods that we're consuming. But what the newest science is now suggesting, our number one source of environmental inflammation is artificial blue light. Because what we don't realize is from the morning that we wake up and we turn on that cell phone to check our text messages and our emails, and then we turn on our computer, our iPad, our computer, we turn on our indoor lighting, we're literally saturating ourselves in this blue light that oxidizes, from the time that we wake up in the morning until the time that we go to bed.
And I think, we're seeing like an increase in cancer and an increase in other inflammatory related diseases. And we can address some of that with diet. But
Yeah,
part of our diet actually is sunlight. This is so interesting to me.
correct. Yeah. And, inflammation from, all these different sources add up. So
Well,
the main
yeah.
staying healthy in our modern, high-tech indoor living world is to reduce inflammation through every avenue possible, through a great clean diet, through drinking clean water, red light therapy, lots of sun exposure, grounding or earthing for those that are familiar with those terms, which means literally being barefoot outside. Hopefully I'll get to talk about my cool glasses here in a bit. So
So
reducing
do you have them on right now?
well,
I
these
can't
are
tell because all I see is your pink everywhere.
these are my, let me turn this off. These are my normal everyday blue blockers for the
Right,
daytime.
right.
I don't know if you can see the reflection off the windows,
Yeah.
but these are a clear lens that has just a very slight yellow tint.
Uh-huh.
And what they do is they block the wavelength of blue that's most damaging to our eyes. So because blue creates free radicals, creates inflammation, when we stare at a blue screen all day, it's been directly linked to
Now, can
also,
you have that added to your prescription glasses? But have you?
yeah, everybody's doing it these days.
Okay, cool,
Yeah.
awesome. So the next time I get my glasses updated, I'll ask for that. And then
Yes,
you've got these cool red glasses that you showed me yesterday. I just kind of like them because they're red.
right. So these are, I'm what's called a biohacker. There's all sorts of biohackers out there. I know some people don't have a the right idea of what a biohacker is, because some of these biohackers are injecting genes into their body, and I'm not that kind of biohacker. I'm a natural biohacker. I go outside, I ground and do that stuff. And anyways, another cool thing about light, not only does light give us energy, but blue light in particular, controls our circadian rhythm. And our circadian rhythm controls all the biological processes that go on inside of us. So essentially, blue light tells our biology it's daytime, which then our brain secretes daytime hormones like cortisol, dopamine, serotonin,
Right.
thyroid hormones, adrenal hormones, all that stuff. And blue light suppresses melatonin. Melatonin is a nighttime hormone which controls all of our nighttime regenerative processes. So in this whole story of light, we're exposed to all this, fake light during the day when we should be exposed to sunlight. The other side of the story is we're exposed to all this artificial blue light after sunset when we're supposed to be exposed to darkness. And that can be rhythms. So what I have is a special pair of glasses. They have an amber tinted lens. And what these actually do is filter all blue and also most of green light, because green is half blue. So they protect your eyes after sunset from blue light. And what that does is it tricks your biology into, well, it's sad that we have to trick our biology into thinking
Right.
time, because we have daytime blue light on that tells our brain it's daytime. So these are a game changer for your sleep. There's a lot of people that have sleep issues, and what the science is really showing of the main root cause for sleep issues is exposure to blue light after sunset.
So, a lot of folks are having a hard time with sleep these
Yes.
days, and blaming it on all kinds of things, but it could be just our light deficiency, right?
Yeah.
So one of the things that I'm on a mission to do is to highlight the fact that, so Relentless Talk Radio has 4 pillars: art and fashion, health and fitness, entrepreneurism, philanthropy. So I've been a personal trainer for 36 years, and I've been an artist my whole life, and I've been an entrepreneur my whole life, right? And I've always been a philanthropist. So one of the things that I'm on a mission to do is to remind people that health and fitness businesses are actually businesses.
Right.
I thought that I was going to trick the system by being an artist and a personal trainer, and I would avoid being in business.
Right.
And then after a couple of years, I realized, crap, I'm in business, right? So they don't teach you anything in art school or in law school or medical school about being in business. And when you're personal training and you're doing your certifications, they give you like a chapter on kind of sort of a little bit of business, maybe if you're lucky, depending upon your certification program. But many of us are coming into the health and fitness industry as fitness zealots and not necessarily business people. So one of the questions I'm sure to ask all of our fitness and health people is, what's the biggest lesson you've learned about being in business?
Oh, man.
I know I'm asking a dirty question there, aren't I?
It's a loaded question because there's so many things. I think probably if I had to say number one, it's to be organized.
Right?
Believe it or not, that was a bad habit. A little bit on my backstory is I had severe sleep apnea, which I suffered for 8 years until I stumbled onto, this natural healing stuff, light therapy included. And, 8 years of being sick and all this stuff, I wasn't developing these skills at, the level I should have been. And so organization is key, especially when you're, I've always been a personal trainer for the last 16 years, but now that I'm in a red light therapy business where I have a lot of clients, and people that I only see, physically see, maybe once a month or something like that, the most important thing you can do with your business is to be organized with your numbers, with your time, with your clients, with everything.
It's interesting that you say that. We're going to swing back around to the why of this in a minute. People will always say to me, Michelle, there's like a double whammy, right? You don't want to be getting ready to get ready for too long. But I think that people don't spend enough time getting ready to be ready.
And I absolutely agree with that.
You know,
You-
choosing right now I'm going through the process of, I thought I had chosen my CRM, my customer relationship management software, for this newest rendition of my business
Mhm.
that's going to be collaborating with two other CRMs, right? And discovered over the past month that it wasn't the right fit. So I'm choosing a different one. And people who are not technically savvy or not business savvy will say to me, Michelle, just start doing. I'm like, well, it takes 7 touches to get a client.
Mhm.
So if you're communicating with 30 or 40 or 50 or 100 people a day like I am, you have to find a way to organize those touches
Yes,
so
exactly.
that you don't forget to touch people, right? So if I send somebody a message, or I call somebody, or I go out and have a coffee date, how often does it happen where you get a pile of cards? So I have like a little process where I put the pile of cards in a little basket by my desk, right? And then they get scanned into my CRM, and then I start a process of dripping, right? Well, if you
Yeah,
haven't got the right tool, that's never going to happen. You're just going to, and so if that doesn't happen, your business at one point will stall. And I
absolutely.
don't want to reinvent I have the luxury of putting those things in places for what I'm doing now in advance of going, oh shoot, I should have, right? So I'm doing that now. And sometimes people will be critical of, like, it's just taking you so much time. I'm like, well, if you go to any corporation that's doing business and they're implementing a new internal initiative, it takes time and effort, energy and thought and meetings. And I think sometimes as small entrepreneurs, we don't put that time in to make the right decisions about the tools that we're using to be organized. And that's what you're saying, right? You're saying you
That
need to
was
be
so well.
the,
Yeah, you've got to have the systems in place and the infrastructure, and yes, absolutely.
I really love how there's a balance for me as a small entrepreneur. I choose to be a solo entrepreneur without employees. So there's a balance between like having systems and being, automated and tapping into technology, and then also having that personal touch. And I love the way your space works, because you walk in, you sign in, you have automatic pay, and you're not micromanaging either. And I like that too. So
Sure.
for me, there's a balance between micromanaging things and what am I going to micromanage because it's revenue generating and it makes sense, and what am I going to let go of and just let karma take over.
Well,
And I think every business owner has to decide what those things are, right?
yeah, absolutely. I mean, I still personal train, mostly in the evenings. I've got all my admin work to do for this, and I don't have a physical space where my office is. My office is solely dedicated to red light, and
Yeah.
so it's hard to be there all day long. And I have a great system that works where people can just walk in for their appointments, and
Uh-huh.
people
And
appreciate.
I'll be documenting the process of what it looks like to do that, like when I come over, like, signing in and showing people what the space looks like.
Uh-huh.
And I want to swing back. We have a couple more minutes before I go and get Jenny and Susan. I
Okay.
want to go back to your why. So you kind of gave me a little bit of a piece in there. One of your whys is the sleep apnea, right? Which is a serious flipping thing. Sleep apnea. It can kill you.
It can definitely kill you. And I was a great example. I've always been somebody that's into health. I went to college. I did my undergrad in kinesiology, exercise physiology. And I've always been interested in how the human body works. And shortly after college, I moved down to Arizona in 2009. And at the age of 24, I had fatigue all the time. I snored like crazy at night. I went and got a sleep study, and come to find out that I stopped breathing 70 times an hour in my sleep, and it was non-obstructive. So,
Right.
my throat. Um, and at the point in time with the education that I had, I just assumed that that was my genetic destiny. And I suffered from this severe sleep apnea for 8 years. And, bad sleep, one night of bad sleep makes you feel like crap the next day. 8 years of bad sleep will mess with your brain. I had ADD, depression, anxiety, all sorts of internal health problems. And, to make a long story short, 8 years later, one of my really good friends introduced me to a new science. It's a rediscovered science in 1999 called epigenetics, meaning, we all know genetics, our DNA. The DNA is the blueprints of all the proteins that your body's made of. But our DNA doesn't turn itself on and off, it doesn't have a mind of its own. So, what epigenetics means is it's environmental signals that turn on and off our genes. And an environmental signal can be a lot of things. The major one is light. Light turns on and off genes to make our body do things. So does temperature, so does magnetic flux, so does food, but the big one being light. And once I started learning about this, I could look at my situation and how I was living my daily life, because I was doing those things that people are taught they need to do to be healthy. I was working out 5 or 6 days a week, doing cardio every day, eating a clean diet 95% of the time. I got my 8 hours of sleep, but it wasn't good sleep.
Right.
So, excuse me.
Nickel.
So anyway, somebody that's doing all these things that we're taught that we have to do to be healthy, yet could be so sick.
Right.
And to match your synergy is I started learning about all these natural principles. I mean, we're breaking the laws of biology. We're not born indoors with sunglasses on, with clothes on, with shoes on. We're supposed to be born outside, exposed to the elements. And
Has
so
your sleep apnea gotten better?
so literally in the course of a month, I was able to reverse my sleep apnea completely. And over the course of several months, I was
Wow.
able to reverse everything else completely, from the ADD to the depression to the anxiety. I function like a totally different person. And
Wow.
I got off, 10 milligrams of Ambien every day, 60 milligrams of Adderall every day. That's some powerful shit if you know anything about Adderall. And
Wow. Yeah.
and it just goes to show that it's your environment that's really in control of your health. And modern day humans, you know, they're unaware of this. This is not something that I was taught.
And some people go to tanning booths to get that sunlight, and it's bad for your skin. You end up getting cancer in a different way. So this is super interesting. You can go get red light, and it can solve so many problems. I am looking forward to
Right?
my hamstring issue is completely solved, because it's, I'm rolling. I'm unable to practice yoga to my normal level of practice, which is really not good for me emotionally or physically. So I can't wait to see what it does with my hamstrings. I'm super excited about it.
It's one of the things. Yeah, it's FDA approved for several things: for hair growth, for skincare, and for pain relief. And
Wow.
you've got a pretty extreme situation, but the number of Americans, I believe it's like 75% of adult Americans are living with at least one form of pain.
Well, my partner and I are always talking about the fact that, we're actually super spoiled because you're both fit. So for either one of us to feel funky, it's super annoying because we're used to feeling so great all the time because
Yeah.
we have a great nutrition partner. We both work out. We're both taking like hyper good care of ourselves. I don't drink alcohol, so there's another thing that doesn't. I don't do any kind of drug. I mean, the only drug that I do is caffeine and sugar.
Yeah. Sugar.
And that, sugar is a drug, in my
Yeah.
opinion. I mean, they've tested rats, and if you give a rat a choice between cocaine and sugar, he's going for the candy bar every time.
They're both gonna kill them.
It's more addictive than cocaine sugar. So I have to be really careful. Last night we went to dinner, and I have to be careful about how much sugar I consume. So I want to make sure that we've let people know how to get a hold of you. So on the bottom of the screen right now is your Instagram address. It's quantumred_Scottsdale, or your Facebook address is Quantum Red Scottsdale. So people can check you out there. How else can I get a hold of you to do some red light therapy?
So unfortunately, right now my website is down. So social media is the best way to get a hold of me. Or I guess it's safe to get out my business phone number here. My phone number is 480-549-3331. and I'd love to give a 10% discount to all of your listeners.
Cool.
As I'm doing Black Friday specials through Monday. Normally, an unlimited red near infrared light therapy package is $100 a month. So for Black Friday, it's going to be an even bigger discount. It's 25%, and
Wow.
purchase as many months as they want, up to 12 months at that.
Awesome.
So that's going until Monday.
Cool.
So
they can call in, and they can inbox you on Facebook or Instagram and say, I want the Relentless special, that extra 10% off. Or they can buy as many months as they want, up to a year, for 25% off until the end of the month.
Until Monday, Cyber Monday.
Until Monday. So, Jake, I want to say thank you so much. I'm so excited to do more work with you. You'll be one of the contributors to the Relentless Talk Radio Health and Fitness Group. So if people want to hear more from you on a regular basis,
Really?
you'll be posting educational and inspirational stuff about red light therapy and about just taking better care of yourself as far as light is concerned in the Relentless Talk Radio Health and Fitness Group. So people can also join that. There's a link there. It's not active right now, but it will be after the show. That's active to the Relentless Talk Radio Health and Fitness Group in the comments above. So thanks a lot, Jake. I really appreciate it. You know, Susan commented earlier. She said she agreed that organization is really super important. She totally agreed with you on that. So I just wanted to let you know that she commented earlier. So I want to say have a nice day, and I'm looking forward to seeing the red light this week, and I'll see you soon.
Thank you so much for having me.
Take care.
Bye-bye.
All right, everybody. I'm going to go get Susan Weeks, Susan Walter, and oh my God, Jenny Walter and Susan Rice next. So come on next for segment 3 of Relentless Talk Radio. This is episode 48. Thanks a lot, everybody.